Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by EnergySage. Visit the link in the description to find local verified solar experts, community projects and heat pump specialists in your area. And by Atmos Financial. Bag better with a financial technology company that's powered by a portfolio of clean energy investments. Welcome back to another episode of Tea and Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. We have a lot of stories to get through today, but first I do want to remind you that if this week has been tough or difficult to handle, or otherwise a challenge, it is okay to not be okay. Grab your favourite beverage, curl up, and I'll take you through this week's stories in an as efficient a way as possible. We start with a story that's been doing the rounds online this week with varying amounts of breathless coverage. Tesla Cybertrucks that are now, apparently, rusting. Some, not all, Tesla Cybertruck owners in areas where there's been recent rain are starting to report rust spots on their new trucks, something which you might assume a Cybertruck would be immune to since stainless steel isn't meant to rust. But without going too deep into metallurgy, there are many different types of stainless steel out there, and while stainless steel does resist rust, it can still get surface rust. There are plenty of theories going about discussing the problem, including air particulate pollution, that may have settled on the exterior of affected vehicles. But in its owner's manual, Tesla says that owners need to clean off bugs and other road residue immediately, otherwise the finish might be tarnished. Chevrolet made a surprise announcement relating to its upcoming Equinox EV, the cheapest car it's going to build on its Ultium platform to date. Confirmed this week, the Chevy Equinox EV will start from $34,995 including mandatory destination fees, and while that's the same price Chevrolet promised late last year, what's new is the fact that the Equinox EV will now be eligible for the full US federal tax credit, meaning that the effective price to get behind the wheel will be as low as $27,495. Assuming that is that the buyer qualifies for federal tax incentives. For that, you'll get an estimated 319 miles, 513 kilometres of range, and an entry-level 1LT front-wheel drivetrain. A super interesting, quite nerdy set of figures from the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, or ACEA for short, shows that there's quite a bit of variation across the EU when it comes to electric truck and bus adoption. In its latest publication, the ACEA notes that 5.2% of all medium-sized trucks across Europe had a plug last year, up 229.4% on the previous year, while 1% of all new heavy goods vehicles were electric. It also shows that while Germany dominated registrations of both heavy-duty and medium-duty electric commercial vehicles, as well as electric buses, within and outside the EU, the Netherlands, Spain, Denmark, the UK, Norway and Switzerland also showed significant growth in electric commercial vehicle adoption. However, in Central and Eastern European countries, there was a noticeably lower uptake of EVs, showing there's still a lot of work to be done in commercial vehicle fleets across Europe. While LFP battery packs are less power and energy dense than NCM-based lithium-ion battery packs, they're quickly becoming the preferred choice for many new EVs. To date, Chinese firms have sat at the forefront of LFP battery development, with CATL and BYD considered to be leaders, with even Tesla buying battery cells from both firms for its cars. This week, access to LFP battery cells became a whole lot easier for many other automakers after Borg Warner signed a new deal with BYD's battery unit, FinDreams, to license its LFP blade battery packs in Europe, America, and the Asia-Pacific regions. The deal is a major coup for the Tier 1 parts supplier, whose current clients include Ford, General Motors, and many other well-known brands. This, frankly, is a massive deal. Multiple news outlets reported on a Tesla crash back in 2022 that claimed the life of a drunk Tesla employee when his car crashed into a tree and caught fire, with him at the wheel. According to incident reports from the time of the crash, the sole survivor of the accident reportedly told first responders that the driver was using a, quote, auto-drive feature on the Tesla, end quote, and that, quote, it just ran straight off the road, end quote. Since then, a full investigation has tried to ascertain if the car was in fact under manual or semi-autonomous control, but in a public statement on X this week, Elon Musk disputed the reporting, stating that the employee did not have FSD downloaded on his car, and adding that had the car been operating in FSD, the accident, quote, probably would not have happened, end quote. However, data obtained by the Washington Post seems to suggest that FSD was, quote, active and included with the vehicle, end quote, and while data from collisions should automatically report it to Tesla, and Tesla did report the incident to NHTSA, crash data that would prove categorically what happened appears to be missing. I should note the driver was 3 times over the legal limit, and I should also reiterate that no semi-autonomous vehicle is fully autonomous, and you should absolutely not drink and drive. We love electric bicycles and think they could really help our transition away from fossil fuels. But now we've got a trio of e-bike stories we've kind of lumped together, all of which relate to e-bike safety. First, Dutch police have unveiled a new portable rolling road or dynamometer that they can use to test the legality of e-bikes they suspect are in violation of the nation's e-bike laws on maximum power and speed. In recent years, e-bike collisions have increased, with the majority of them involving e-bikes that have been illegally modified for higher top speeds. Meanwhile, over in California, the state has begun considering a new e-bike law that would ban children under the age of 12 from riding e-bikes and require those over 12 who do not have a car license to take an online course and obtain a special ID license before being allowed to ride. On the other side of the US, New Jersey is also considering a new bill that would require all e-bike riders to get insurance and register their rides before taking them on the road. In order to keep your electric car's battery pack healthy, it's generally accepted that the battery pack needs to be kept between 20 and 80% full, unless you really do need that extra range on a long-distance trip. But just as wisdom on EV fast charging has changed in recent years, it used to be thought that fast charging was damaging to battery packs, but now evidence suggests the opposite. There's now a new study suggesting that leaving your car's battery pack empty for a while could be good for it. But, as is usually the case, detail matters. Enter a new study from Stanford University that says that allowing a lithium-metal battery pack to rest at or near empty could dramatically improve its lifespan. But what is important to underline here is that the study isn't about the lithium-ion batteries we find in most modern EVs today. It's relating to next-generation lithium-metal batteries, which, as yet, are not found in most EVs on the market. As is usual, context is queen. Electric vertical takeoff and landing company Joby Aviation, one of a number of companies rushing to bring electric air taxis to reality, has just signed a deal with Dubai's Road and Transport Authority to start air taxi services there by 2026. Dubai has long been incredibly keen to establish eVTOL services and frankly has the financial clout to make it happen, which is why so many eVTOL firms are flocking there to set up operations. Joby is just the latest in a line of companies that have set their sights on Dubai, and frankly it's going to be interesting to see just which firm succeeds in being first to market. While some companies are focusing heavily on fully autonomous operations, it is also worth noting that Joby, based in California, has already completed successful flight tests with a pilot on board, and while its initial vehicles appear smaller than the 6-seat models it's promising for Dubai, it is frankly truly impressive to see how quickly this method of transit is evolving. We often cover news studies on this channel that make us go, well, duh. And today we got just such a survey from the Auto Pacific EV Consumer Insight Study, which has concluded what we already knew. People want nice EV charging stops with amenities. It polled over 7,200 people who were either looking for an EV as their next car or said they were seriously considering one, and it discovered that most people it polled want EV charging sites that are basically identical to gas stations, with all of the amenities that includes. They want a windshield wash station, a restroom, and a place to check their car's tyre pressure, and all of the other things that internal combustion engine drivers get without a second thought. Luckily, commercial charging station operators around the world are waking up to this need, and I have to give a shout out to the Harris Ranch in California, which has offered all of the above and more for EV charging stations for a really long time. After LFP battery packs, the next big holy grail for the EV industry is solid-state battery packs, which not only promise incredible energy density but also incredible charging capabilities. And this week we learned that two of the world's largest battery companies, BYD and CATL, have joined forces with NIO, CalB, Eve Energy and Gotian High Tech to establish a new collaborative platform called the China All-Solid-State Battery Collaborative Innovation Platform, or CASIP for short. This new joint alliance, spearheaded by the Chinese government, aims to rapidly develop and commercialize next-generation solid-state battery tech for use in future EVs. This could cause some significant upset globally, though, so watch this space. Short shorts are in a second, but first a word from one of today's video sponsors, EnergySage. EnergySage helps homeowners connect with local verified solar installers across the US and now heat pump specialists in select markets who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing solar panels, help you join a community solar program, or get a heat pump installed. I used EnergySage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our EnergySage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and put us in touch with an amazing credit union that allowed us to finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. Follow the links below to sign up for either of EnergySage's free no obligation services and get the ball rolling today. If you choose to use an EnergySage installer for your project, we will also get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping us out too. And as someone whose local utility put rates up by 18% earlier this year, I am very glad I already have solar on my roof, so won't you join me? And now it's time for Short Shorts. Chrysler has officially unveiled its latest electric vehicle, a concept called the Halcyon. It's a very futuristic car, and you can tell because it has gull-wing doors and thin seats, and it promises SAE Level 4 autonomous driving, but it's a sedan, so it'll never get made. In a post on X, Aptera has showcased a computer rendering of what it says is its production intent vehicle build process for its solar electric vehicle. Calling the video a representation of the body in carbon build process, it gives us an insight into how the finished version will be built. Ford has officially delivered the first F-150 Lightning pickup truck to a customer outside of North America. Handing over the keys to a dual nationality couple from Norway who run an American grill and barbecue shop, Ford says there are many more European deliveries planned. US-based QCells, working alongside Solarcycle, has announced a new recycling program for the US designed to recycle decommissioned solar panels. It's going to then use the raw materials to help them build new ones. It's the first partnership of its kind in the US. Piker, an autonomous electric cargo aircraft company, has delivered the first of 3 Piker Pelican cargo planes to AFWERKX, an innovation arm of the US Air Force's research laboratory. It will carry out tests of the Piker Pelican to evaluate it for use in the military. Wallbox has just announced a new charging station for use in the US called the Supernova 180. It is a scalable dual-head fast charging station capable of providing up to 180 kilowatts of power, and it can split that power between 2 different cars. Lucid has announced a new price cut for its 2024 Lucid Air Pure, dropping a full $7,500 off the starting price for an MSRP of $71,400. Lucid also cut $8,000 off the price of the Lucid Air Touring. The European Union Transport Committee has expressed its interest in increasing the maximum allowable weight and length of zero-emission trucks. It wants to compensate for the weight and space required to build long-range battery and hydrogen-electric big rigs. In its latest vehicle dependability study, J.D. Power reports that electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids are still more trouble-prone than hybrid vehicles. It based its findings on owner-reported issues with vehicles during the first 3 years of ownership. Reporting from the Wall Street Journal suggests that the Salton Sea region of California is home to enough lithium to power 300 million EV batteries, and as such expects commercial mining to be established there. However, given that the region is important to multiple native tribes, not to mention a variety of native wildlife, it is frankly very important that any planned mining is carefully considered. New plans for a new Tesla supercharger site in Kern County, California, near to the interchange between State Highway 46 and Interstate 5, could soon see the world's largest supercharger, with up to 164 stalls and pass-through for towing vehicles. Disturbing reports from Vietnam suggest that domestic critics of Vietnamese EV startup VinFast have been subject to harassment and worse. Documents from the country suggest some critics have been summoned to speak with government officials about their open criticism of the company. Watch this space. Walmart is planning a nationwide remodeling of both Walmart and Sam's Club stores in the US, with plans to add what it says will be a coast-to-coast network of fast-charging stations. As Inside EVs notes, 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of at least one Wally World. Fiat's tuning company, Abarth, has revealed the first images of an all-new Abarth model, the Abarth 600e Scorpionissima. It will feature a 240 horsepower motor with mechanical limited-slip differential and will learn more specs before its limited-run production. Despite efforts from Tesla to prevent Tesla customers from flipping their Cybertrucks, we're now starting to see early examples of Cybertrucks getting offered for sale online, even before said customers in some cases have even taken delivery. Some examples are being advertised at more than 100% markup. New sales data shows that the Volkswagen ID.4 and the Hyundai Kona EV are currently the most popular EVs selling below MSRP in the US. As some automakers start to get cold feet about EV rollout, a surprising number of EVs are now available well below asking. Kenyan mobility company Rome has just successfully closed its Series A funding round with $24 million in the bank, thanks to a variety of VC and investment help, led by Africa-focused VC fund Equator, TES Ventures, @One Ventures, and more. Tesla has quietly increased the price of its refreshed long-range Highland Model 3 in the US. Basically a complete redesign of the original Model 3 with plenty of upgrades inside and out. You'll now need to pay $1,500 more to get behind the wheel. Toyota hasn't ever hidden its disdain for electric vehicles from view, and we've covered the views of its executives plenty on this channel. But this week, its VP of Sales and Marketing in Australia said Toyota isn't being anti-EV, it's just being real and honest about EVs. Software developers are always hiding cute Easter eggs in their code, either to help with the monotony of coding or to make someone smile. And this week, a Ford engineer let slip that he snuck a little picture of a rose into the Sync 4A system as found in Ford Mustang Mach-E and F-150 Lightning models in honour of his daughter, who was born while he was developing it, and her name is Rose. It's official. The planned facelift for the Tesla Model Y, which is planned to follow the similar Highland facelift that Tesla gave to Model 3, won't happen in North America until next year. Tesla confirmed the news in an email to its sales staff in the US this week. France has cut the EV bonus for high-income households by 20% this week, meaning buying an EV might cost you more. However, at the same time, it's increased the subsidy amount for leasing EVs by €1,000, and low-income household assistance remains exactly the same as it previously was. The city of Sacramento, which is California's capital city, is looking to pass a new ordinance that would ban all new gas stations. At the same time, it also wants to pass a new requirement that existing stations will only be allowed to expand if they add one DC fast charger of 50 kilowatts or more per new gas pump. Rivian has added 2 new battery pack choices for customers ordering R1T and R1S. The 2 packs, 106 and 121 kilowatt hours respectively, will be called the Standard and Standard Plus packs. The US Department of Interior's Bureau of Ocean Energy Management has announced 2 offshore wind energy areas off the coast of Oregon, where new floating offshore wind farms can now be built. The 2 sites are near Coos Bay and Brookings. The partnership between Sony and Honda that will see the Alphila sedan enter into production has confirmed that it now has plans to bring 3 different EVs to market over the next 5 years, the Alphila sedan, an SUV, and a more compact, affordable model. French motorcycle startup Motowatt has just unveiled its W1X, its first model. Unlike many electric motorcycles, it features dual motor drive, cantilever front suspension, and enough power and range to make it a good commuter vehicle. We'll know more about it in the near future. We and many advocacy groups maintain the key to getting someone interested in an EV is getting them behind the wheel or at least in the passenger seat, and new data from Consumer Reports backs that up. EV experience among the general population is still woefully poor, and as a consequence, those who've never experienced EVs are most likely to have misconceptions about them. Who knew, eh? Kia has confirmed it's working hard on an all-electric successor to the incredibly popular Stinger sports car. We know very little about the model, which we know will be called the Kia EV8, but we do know that it won't be based on the eGMP platform. It was the superb owl last weekend, and as part of the festivities, billions of dollars were spent on adverts played during the game. But one from the Dawn Project, a very vocal critic of Tesla and the full self-driving program, has got into trouble with the NTSB after it used the agency's logo on its advert without permission. To say that the NTSB is upset is an understatement. It issued a cease and desist. And finally, for the segment, we've all done silly things with our cars, and I'm sure many EV owners have mistaken their car as being off when it's still on. And one Toyota BZ4X owner found out the hard way when they failed to put their car into park while they got out to throw out some trash into a trash can, and the car was still in drive and drove itself into the Atlantic Ocean. Ouch. And those are your shorts. There will be more next week. Our final two stories are next, but first, a quick word from one of today's video sponsors, Atmos Financial. Imagine a bank where your savings not only grow, but also go towards growing a greener world. That's exactly what Atmos Financial does for you. With Atmos, every dollar in your checking and savings account is funding projects that light up lives with solar energy, not fossil fuels. Atmos is banking that builds a better tomorrow today with every swipe of your card, because they're committed to investing 100% in clean, equitable and sustainable progress. With a 3.5% savings rate and a really mobile app, your finances and the climate go hand in hand. It also charges no monthly fees, and there are no minimums that keep you awake at night, and it offers accessible solar loans for those who want to give the fossil fuel industry the ultimate middle finger. By joining Atmos using the link below, you're not only choosing a smarter way to bank, you're planting seeds for a healthier earth. And every sign-up supports our channel, so we can help keep bringing you the content you love. I am a customer, and I know that I'm saving money while also making sure that my savings don't end up funding the fossil fuel industry. And now it's time for those last two stories. When the auto industry in North America announced it was going to transition away from CCS Type 1 and towards NACS, we had some thoughts about the transition process. And one of those thoughts was, will they just rely on Tesla superchargers? And this week, that question was answered with a resounding no, as a bunch of US car companies announced a new charging network called Iona, a new joint venture between BMW, GM, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, and Mercedes-Benz, as well as Stellantis. As a consequence, Stellantis, of course, has confirmed that it will be switching to NACS, but unlike other automakers making the switch, it doesn't yet have a deal with Tesla to gain access to the supercharger network, which might suggest people with Jeeps or Dodge EVs or other Stellantis models might only be able to use non-Tesla operated NACS charging infrastructure. So watch this space. For years, and I do mean years, many automotive journalists, mainstream media outlets and auto executives have pushed back against the battery electric vehicle switch, stating that hydrogen fuel cell cars would be a far better choice. And for more than a decade, you've been able to lease and in some cases buy select hydrogen fuel cell cars in California. At least some of our viewers have done just that. But this week, Shell announced a sudden closing of all of its consumer-facing hydrogen refueling stations in California, stating that its aim was to focus on, quote, value over volume and prioritising capital investment in areas where we have a distinct competitive advantage, end quote. It's not clear if Shell means gasoline by that, but given the backpedaling the auto industry has been doing on EVs, I wouldn't be surprised. Shell says it's going to keep operating its commercial hydrogen fuel cell stations for big rigs, but so far 7 hydrogen stations have been closed and Shell is looking to divest its Torrance, California location. Given that's where Honda's American headquarters is based, I'll leave you to guess what's likely to happen at that location. And on that note, we are in fact done for today. As always, a massive thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They've been advocating for EVs since 1967 and firmly believe our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green EVs today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. Plus, if you become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. So find out more by heading to electricauto.org. And thanks to EnergySage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make the step towards energy self-sufficiency through solar on the roof of your home, joining a community solar project, or by getting a heat pump installed. And finally, thanks to Atmos Financial, bank better by following the link below. As usual, we'd love it if you'd consider supporting us from just $1 a month on Patreon or about $10.08 a year. The overwhelming majority of our income now comes from Patreon support, and it's thanks to you guys that I'm able to pay the team, make sure everyone has healthcare, and yes, even this month, pay myself, which I haven't honestly been able to do for some time. We do, though, have some big expenses coming up this year, so if you'd like to help lighten the load, follow the links below, or in fact, book myself or Kate for a personal one-on-one consulting session, a full-blown presentation to your community group, or a company presentation getting your company switched to EVs. And don't forget to visit our swag store for our new design this month, End Charging Desert. It, along with the rest of our merch, is there for all of your TE swag needs. And of course, we'll be back next week as usual with content going out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Finally, just a reminder, if you are in a group currently feeling the full force brunt of hate at the hands of legislators and other folks who don't want you to exist, you're not alone. You're valid, you're loved, and as always, you're freaking awesome because you're watching this show, so there. So until next time, stay safe, regardless of who you identify as or who you love. Be an amazing ally, be kind, and please, for the sake of everyone's future, keep evolving.